Hello and welcome to Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella. Get your red on and thank the Texans. Holy heck, what went down in Houston? The Buffalo Bills lose on Thursday Night Football. A surprising result. We get into that, talk about the playoff scenario. Is it going to be Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco? What's going on in Cincinnati for this Sunday? And how good can the Patriots actually be? Before we get into everything as usual, a thank you to our subscribers. We continue to see these numbers grow and are just so appreciative of continuing to bring the latest news out to the masses and getting it to those who are in need as we break it down and give you what's going on and hopefully help you know what's going on with your favorite team. So if you enjoy the content, please consider going down and give us a subscribe, give us a like if you like what you hear, and go back and check out those old episodes as well, and get it in the comments. Let us know what you think about what's going on with the Bills. Can they catch the Patriots at this point? What you would like to see for the Patriots on the final stretch, and who is going to make the biggest mark in the playoffs. We first start with the news that the Texans, yes, indeed, get to Josh Allen, completely rattle him, a 23-19 win over the Bills for those Houston Texans, with Davis Mills at quarterback, not even CJ Stroud. The backup doing yeoman's work, that defense showing why it is number one in the NFL and still a dangerous team for an AFC South that is suddenly very good. Who saw that one coming? But for the Bills, they fall another game back of the Patriots, while 2 in the loss column. It's essentially 3 with the head-to-head win. Now, yes, the Patriots still have to play the Bills, but apparently there is a formula to get to Josh Allen and get him off his spot. Only had 20 rushing yards in that game. And again, it did not look good. He was scrambling backwards, trying to avoid pressure, and just could never get comfortable. And I think that directly correlates with his wide receiving core. Kind of the same questions that Drake May had to face last year going into this year. The Bills receiving core is not good. Khalil Shakir, absolutely a fantastic player in his own right, but probably better suited as a wide receiver 2 or 3. Keon Coleman, who they had hoped to send to that potential number 1 or 2 role, benched for the second game in a row. We'll see what happens there. Tyrell Shavers, who was impact player last week, no catches today. Gabe Davis picked up off the scrap pile, reinserted into the starting lineup. It is not working well for the Buffalo Bills, but they do get Dalton Kincaid back from injury. They can likely get Keon Coleman back into the fold. Watch out, because players like Brandon Cooks are likely going to be on the waiver wire. So the Bills expect them to bounce back. It just puts another circle around a big matchup coming for the Patriots in just a couple weeks. Additionally, the Patriots having that 3-game lead on the Buffalo Bills, as we talked about, it makes this weekend very, very pivotal. Again, the Cincinnati team that has not been good this year, their defense really not there, but the offense can be explosive at times. But looking at the playoffs, again, Patriots and the Denver Broncos tied at 9-2 overall. Broncos have the tiebreaker currently for the number 1 overall seed. Talking about the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts at 8-2, holding a commanding lead there. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-4, but having those Baltimore Ravens right on their heels at 5-5. Looking more at the wild card spots, Buffalo now actually falls behind the Chargers at 7-4 each, with the tiebreaker in the last spot going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We say the AFC South 6-4. The Houston Texans just a spot out now at 6-5, and the team that maybe everyone is afraid to play because they have not played well at all, yet still stand at 5-5, and we're in the Super Bowl for each of the last 3 years, the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you want to even talk about having to deal with Patrick Mahomes? This just, again, further underlines how important it is for the Patriots to take care of business, get that number 1 seed, and get as far into the playoffs as you can before having to deal with anyone else. Yes, we're just still talking about playoffs because it is so much the betting favorite for the number 1 seed right now is the Patriots. And it's more, yes, a combination of the ease of schedule, but that means they need to take care of business, and that means it's uber important about who is going to be under center on Sunday against against the Bengals. Joe Burrow, a second straight day taking the snaps, full participation. It looks like he is healthy and ready to go. So the only question is, do the Bengals want to put him at risk? It is risk because he's coming back from an injury. He's seemingly always injured. They're 3-7. It's not looking good. Do you want to take the gamble to further put him in harm's way with an offensive line that continues to not be good. If Joe Flacco is actually hurt, it may not matter, but I think for this point, you have to assume that it's going to be Joe Burrow on Sunday. And Zach Core, the acting defensive coordinator for the Patriots, was asked, and he said, "We're preparing for both. Outside of what's reported, we don't know what's going on. So we have to prepare for both." And this is what we talked about earlier this week, where it comes at a detriment because you have to do two things now. It's not just, hey, what is Lamar Jackson doing? What is Daniel Jones doing? What is Bo Nix doing? It's now, what does Joe Burrow do well? What does Joe Flacco do well? What do you want to take away? What do you got to watch out for? So it does put two things on the plates of the New England Patriots defenders and expect a decision to take its way up to game day. I would be surprised if on Friday or Saturday we get an update. But again, the Patriots are having to split their efforts to ensure that they are ready for anything that the Bengals throw at them. And finally, we'd talk about how good the Patriots actually are. They are the betting favorite for the bye, but are they still overhyped? Drake May playing as well as anyone. That's why he's in the MVP conversation. Mike Vrabel showing that the Tennessee Titans made a horrible decision to fire him. The culture they've instilled, they overhauled half the roster. Kudos to Elliott Wolf and the Brain Trust for making the gambles to do this. We talked about the blueprint of what the Washington Commanders did last year to be able to make something like this happen. They have followed that to the letter, a balance of talented veterans, up and coming young players. It really has worked to fruition. But how good can they be? And we've talked about Denver being ahead of them, the Colts are on their heels, Buffalo still circling there, and then Baltimore and Kansas City not being able to write off. That's a tough path in the AFC. And then overall, you have to look at what the NFC brings to the table as well. And yes, you're not going to have to worry about them to the Super Bowl, but Philadelphia and the Rams at 8-2 continue to be the class of that conference. And yes, you took care of Tampa Bay. You can go toe-to-toe with them. But, Chicago at 7-3 has ascended. The Seattle Seahawks, yes, had a tough loss and saw 4 interceptions from Sam Darnold against those Rams, but still at 7-3 in a defense that may be rivaling what Houston is able to do. The Green Bay Packers kind of treading water, but probably the most talented roster in the NFL. And the San Francisco 49ers seemingly back in gear with Brock Purdy returning and everyone starting to get back to where they were at 7-4. And we talk about all those teams, and maybe the favorite that had a tough loss and will probably bounce back as they figure out their coordinator situation is the Detroit Lions, who are very much hungry to get back and potentially get to that NFC Championship. And if they get to the Super Bowl, that's definitely a team I wouldn't want to face. So there is a lot of talent that is still out there. I think there is an easy top 15, top 10. Yes, the New England Patriots are in that conversation. For me, I think what they've done gets them there. What they've done and who they've played on the talent level and how they've done in those games keeps them outside of the top 5. If they continue to keep winning and keep showing that they are for real, the sky is the limit, but don't get wrapped up in the 9-2 or the number 1 overall seed. Understand that this is still a very young team. This is a first year. This is a culture shift, and there is a lot standing in the way of the Patriots in a transcendental season. This is already a fantastic one. First winning one for only 5th ever for a first-year head coach in Patriots history. They will aim to get back to that AFC title. Again, that keep circling that Buffalo game and still having to play Miami and New York on the schedule. But again, we'll continue to bring you everything as we get through it. There's a lot to get into. We're excited for Cincinnati on Sunday. We'll continue to bring it all in for your New England Patriots. Again, thank you to our subscribers. Think about going down and hit it if you have not yet. Get in the comments. We'll answer any questions you have on the show, and we'll continue to bring it all for you right here. Fight on, Foxborough.